Hey guys, Pond Solo again. Alright, so today I decided that I'm going to take a moment here, kind of stop fishing, stop trying to actively catch fish to teach you guys something. There's a lot of new people that watch these videos and everything trying to learn how to fish better, especially bank fishing. So the thing that I'm going to teach you guys today is how to properly search for fish while bank fishing. Alright, it's not a hard thing to do. There's a lot of things that people do wrong. So we'll kind of start out here and I'll go over what to do, how to find the fish, how to make sure you're not freaking the fish out. Again, don't expect me to catch anything right now. I'm just throwing it out there just to kind of show you. If I catch something, great, but that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to kind of highlight what you're supposed to do, the easiest way to catch the fish. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go out and you want to look for, different points of interest. Okay, we often call them structure. So if you look at this pond, not a lot of points of interest. Okay, so this is automatically a problem for most fishermen. First response is going to be to bomb it out to the middle. Figure, okay, there's nothing on the shore for them to hide in, so let's bomb it out to the middle. It's not exactly the most ideal thing you want to do. The best place is to look for the structure that you don't see. All right, and what I mean by that is the structure is actually right in the water. Okay, so if you come up close here, and you might not be able to see this, but there's some white surface right here, and if you go a little bit further deeper, it gets really dark. Usually it's a couple feet right off the shore. There's a breaking point. Okay, and this is the point where the water goes from ankle deep to about knee to hip deep. This is where the bass are. That's a shelf, that's a breaking point, whatever you want to call it. That is where the bass are. They're going to hide right there in that deep water, and they're going to ambush attack the stuff that's in the shallow water. All right, so that's the first thing. So if you now know that you have structure around the entire pond, where's the best place to fish? Shoreline. So funny thing about fishermen is, if we're in a boat, people in the boat are always fishing towards the shore. If you're on the shore, people are always fishing towards the boats. It doesn't make any sense. You got to go where the fish are. The fish are actually right on the shore. They've been there the whole time. So the fact that you've been aiming for that big $10, $20, $30, $40,000 bass boat, you could have been catching just as many fish right on the shore. All right, big ones too. They got you can get 10 pounders right off the shore. So no problem there. So I'm going to teach you how to fish the shore, how to do it properly, kind of the steps that I take personally. There's a lot of different methods. Everybody uses a different method and everything. But this is just the strategies that I use that have been successful for me. I've been bass fishing. I've been fishing in general for a very long time. I fish, 4 or 5 days a week as it is right now. So I do a lot of fishing. So I know what works, what doesn't work and everything for me, for my style of fishing. It might not work for you, but at least this will give you strategies and everything based on science, where those fish are. All right, so I'm going to rig it up here and everything, then we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm just going to grab my first pole here. Doesn't really matter the pole. Again, I'm not really trying to catch fish right now. I'm just trying to show how to check for fish. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to cover water. Okay, now when I say cover water, usually I'm going to use a crankbait, a chatterbait, spinnerbait, usually a hard plastic where I'm not too worried about it getting hung up. So I can cover a lot of water, kind of find out where that bite is. Usually I like a mid diver. Some people like to do a top water to start out with. All personal preference, doesn't really matter what you use. Again, you're checking for the bite, you're seeing if there's any fish following it, you're seeing any interest at all, and then if you got interest, you now know there's fish at that level. If you check and you don't find any fish at that level, some big trucks going by, a lot of construction in this area. Quicker than fast. If you're not finding any luck there, change the presentation up, change the level, go to top water if you're going mid-level. If you're mid-level, maybe go depth, just change it up. That's the key. Change it up, try a couple things. It's all about being, persistent, not giving up, and just staying positive. That's the key. Stay positive. Sometimes you can go 4 hours and get skunked, and then, next thing you know, you got 4 or 5 fish in a row. So that's just kind of how it works. Now, the very first thing when I pull up to a spot is, if you notice how far back I am, I mean, I was just walking near the shore here and everything, but you know, again, I'm not trying to catch fish right now, but generally you want to stay a little distance back. Notice where your shadow is. My shadow is in front of me, so I do not want my shadow going over the water. That is going to spook the fish. All right, so with my shadow in front of me, that means I got to stand further back from the shoreline. Okay, I can inch towards the shoreline slowly to not spook the fish, and I usually do that as I'm covering ground. All right, if my shadow was behind me, I can get a little bit closer, but you don't want to get right on the shore because they can hear you. Also a bad reason to be a YouTuber, because they can hear everything we're saying up here, so it freaks them out. And the way you know that it freaks them out is because when you get close to a pond and you see all the baby fish scatter, the big fish are also scattering. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to cover the shoreline here. All right, and because I got a lot of pond gunk and everything right here, I'm going to get real close, even though I said not to. I'm not really worried about catching fish. I'm just kind of show and tell. But if you look here, there's a bunch of little baby fish all over the place, so this pond actually doesn't look like it's too bad. So the break is right about here. Okay, I don't know if you can see me out there, but the break is right there. All right, so that is technically my shoreline. I like to get a little wet and everything because I'm stupid in Florida. So again, cover, let that drop down a little bit. It's actually pretty good jumpers out there. And then you just cover shoreline. Now, when you cover shoreline, you go side to side, and you want to go closest to you first. A lot of people, they'll go furthest from them first, and if you go furthest from you first, you are going to scare the fish that are the closest to you. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense to do it that way. So start close to you. This mid-diving crank is supposed to go down to 5 feet. It is literally going like 6 inches down, so it's not really doing what I want it to do. Then you slowly, and I'm not going to cast to the left, there's just too much gunk over there. Slowly fan a little bit further out, just kind of exploring. And I'm just slow cranking. I'm not trying to be fancy, not trying to do anything crazy, just slow cranking. It's a small pond, so I'm kind of hitting 2 shorelines at once. Works out pretty good. Just slow crank it. I'm just trying to see if anything bumps into it, if I get any feelers. Again, I'm just testing the bite right now. Okay, testing the bite early, testing all this stuff will ultimately determine what kind of gear you want to use to get started. Okay, and then just further out. And then when I get all the way out, sometimes I'll come right back in and everything. So, it just depends. And then you just do this, and then you just walk the shoreline. So when people say that fishing is not a good workout, in order to effectively say that I fan this area and I cover this water, I got junk on it, so let me get this off. If you get junk on it, don't keep casting, just reel it in. Nobody's biting that. Unless you're going after that vegetarian fish. I believe crappie are vegetarians, but going after that vegan fish, you might be hitting them there with that, but I'm not going to catch bass with that. All right, so just slowly, again, just checking the bite. And then I'm going to move on to another spot, check the bite. Do that all the way around the pond. And that is how you effectively find fish. If you get bites in an area, most likely there's more than one fish in that area. Almost always, when I get one bite, I got another one nearby. I'm not really seeing a lot of big fish in this pond. I'm just seeing a lot of dinks in here, a lot of babies. So it's a perfect kind of pond to kind of show you guys what I'm doing. But again, just kind of fanning out. And you really want to do it, for the most part, you want to try to do it in some kind of a method. Okay, so you don't want to like go short here, then go way out there. You don't want to go all over the place. You just want to be very methodical about it and everything to make sure that you cover a whole area. So I'm not seeing anything in here. I'm not getting any action. I see a lot of little fish. I think this is probably a pretty new retention pond. This is new development. I'm sure you can hear all the dirt haulers all around me. So lots of equipment, heavy equipment out there, just doing work. So I'm sure there's a very new retention pond. Again, wasn't really trying to catch anything here. I just wanted to check for fish. All right, so nothing, I don't want to say mid-level because I think it was definitely not going mid-level. So now I'm going to try this worm here. Go out a little bit. See these drop-offs here? Ooh, there's definitely some catfish in here. You can see their holes. Catfish holes all over the place. In fact, that's a catfish right there. I wonder if I can get him. Probably not with his worm. But yeah, there's definitely catfish in here. Looks like some pretty established catfish, so maybe this might be a relatively new retention pond, but this was probably mucky water at one point. Again, I'm fanning. Just gonna fan. Again, normally I would fan both sides, but the other side's so mucky right now, it's not worth it. I'm not trying to be the lawn care person for this lake, or pond, or whatever you want to call it. And I might even jig a little bit here. Bounced around. This worm's got some good action on it, so I like its up and down movements. Just checking it out. Let's sink a little bit so I can make sure I'm pulling it towards the bottom. You never know. This fish could be on the bottom, could be on the top. Oh, got some interest. I don't think there's anything big enough to bite it though. Nope, it's grass. Grass. Alright guys, so I just wanted to show you that. Another thing I want to show you here is how you pick what kind of lure you're using. Lure, worm, that kind of thing. So you kind of want to match. Of course, you always hear you want to match the hatch. So if you have a big fish that you're trying to catch, you want a bigger bait. You know, small bait will work on anything, even the big stuff, but you're more likely to catch a big fish with a big bait. That's just obvious. You're going to get less hookups, but when you do get them, they're going to be big boys. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Next thing is how you pick the color. So this water is pretty clear, all right? So normally with clear water, I want to use clear baits. So you want to use a chartreuse, you want to use white shad is kind of a killer in this kind of water. But super clear here. It gets kind of dark and murky towards the middle, so you could probably get away with other colors like a June bog, things like that. But normally like natural colors, like your browns, your green pumpkins. Green pumpkin works everywhere. So when in doubt, green pumpkin it out. That's kind of the key here. Use green pumpkin worm, use green pumpkin shad. Those work pretty much anywhere, anytime. Doesn't matter the season. They're pretty much killers all the time. All right. Let's see what we got here. And then of course, if you got a lot of muck and stuff like this, you might want to use something that's a weedless presentation. Carolina rig, Texas rig. You'll see videos for those. I'll probably post some of those soon as well. See all this muck? That's just going to get hung up. So Carolina rig, Texas rig. You're going to want to use like frogs. They got some rats out there that work, spiders, things of that nature. They work great without pulling all this weed in. So you really kind of got to come out here. You got to read the layout. Figure out a game plan before you start fishing. Don't just throw your pole out there. You're going to catch a lot more fish if you come up with a game plan ahead of time. Oh man, I'm looking over here. I see a big tail. This is a big tail, guys. Here, I'm gonna pop this off against my better judgment. I'm gonna pop this off. I'm gonna show you what I'm looking at here. So, if you see people that do noodling, this is what they're looking for. I don't know if you can see it. That big tail right there, right in the water. It's a big tail. It's a catfish, friends. You know what? If I had stinky baits, definitely take advantage of this. Definitely take advantage of this. I'm starting to see some other fish kind of popping around here. I might get a worm back in there. Let's see what we can do. All right, so this is kind of the end of the instruction video and everything, but we might be coming back out here doing some fishing for sure. Those are kind of some interesting things. I don't do a lot of catfishing, but you know, they can be a lot of fun and everything. You just got to be aware that you can mess your hand up pretty good with them, but other than that, they can be a lot of fun to go after. So might try my first hand at noodling, who knows. Otherwise, if you guys have any questions and everything, drop them in the comments. I'll help you wherever I can. I don't claim to be the best bass fisherman. I just have done a lot of it. So if you have any questions, I'll give you advice based on what has worked for me, what hasn't worked for me. Doesn't mean it will or won't work for you, but this game is all about learning, taking advice from others, and then applying it to your own game and your own style. So again, don't get frustrated. Just keep doing what you're doing. Of course, remember to hit that subscribe button. I'm going to try to do some other educational videos and everything. I know that I do a lot of weird fish catching videos. I sing to my fish. I talk to my fish. I tell them jokes and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes it's good to kind of step back and, you know, enjoy nature a little bit and explain kind of the science of fishing and to people that are just kind of starting out. So again, hit that subscribe button and keep looking forward for new videos.